200 years ago, you would have seen tall ships from all over the world delivering cargo to the bustling banks here at Gloucester Docks. Today, these docks are home to the National Waterways Museum, Gloucester, sandwiched between the River Severn and the Gloucester and Sharpness Canal. I'm Abby and I'm a writer for Waterfront, and for our second film exploring the history of canals through 10 artefacts in the Canal and River Trust collection, we're going to be looking at intriguing tools, Victorian architecture and a trip boat with a heroic past. Steve, you're collections officer here at the museum, and the first object you've chosen from the collection kind of tells...
It does. It's this interesting implement. It's a sack hook. So like I said, this warehouse was a grain warehouse, so most of the grain would have come in sacks like this, yes. And then you'd have had warehouse men, and they would have all been men, working in the docks, working in the warehouses, shifting the grain sacks around the warehouse. So they're taken off the boat, and then if you had to carry a sack like this, the easiest way to do it was to get your sack hook into the sack like that, and then they would have lifted it up, perhaps carry it on their back, and it was known that they had bad calluses on their back and things like that. It does really help tell the story of this warehouse.
And it's not just this incredible building, you've got these old docks out there.
Yeah, we have the docks outside, and I've got a few things that I'd like to show you about the docks as well, if you want to go outside.
Yes, please.
So this is one of the objects in the collection that I really like. Have you any idea what you think it might be? Yeah, I'll hold it if you like.
It just looks like a really strange bunch of keys.
Well, in a sense it is a bunch of keys. They're actually known as Lewis keys, and they're called Lewis keys because they're actually used in Roman times. So the Latin for lifting or levitate is levo, right, which has become Lewis in the English language. And these are Lewis keys. Obviously that's because of the shape and what they look like. So how do they work? Yes. Please, tell me. Okay, so if you could help, if you hold that for me and that for me, the shackle. So what happened was these rods, these keys if you like, would have been forced into a sort of placed into a slot in a big stone like this. Okay, and you can just see down there there's a slot. It's been filled in, but that would have been an open slot. And then that would have been put into the slot, would have then replaced the shackle. Then the big shackle would have been connected to a crane like the one we have over there on the hook of a crane. And then when the crane lifted, these keys would splay out inside the stone, and you'd be able to lift this quite heavy stone into the air and move it around to actually place it on the quayside or wherever you wanted to put it.
Well, it's wonderful to see something that played such a pivotal part in building the docks. Steve, we're aboard the Queen Boadicea II, which is the museum's trip boat, but it's had quite a remarkable story.
It has indeed. It was first built in 1936 by Thornycrofts in Southampton, and it was built as a Thames pleasure cruiser. And it's got its name Queen Boadicea II because it used to leave on the Thames from Westminster Pier by the statue of Queen Boadicea and like I say, do trips on the River Thames.
But after that, its story changed quite dramatically, didn't it?
Yes, it did. When the Second World War started, it was seconded into the Royal Navy and did some patrols around the London area. And then when the soldiers were stranded at Dunkirk in 1940, it actually is one of the little ships that went over to rescue those soldiers. So it went to the beaches. We've all seen pictures of all those soldiers on the beaches, but couldn't get close to the soldiers because there was too strong a wind. So it went into Dunkirk harbour. And just as it was going into the harbour, a small boat that was by it was actually hit by a shell. Some people were killed on it, but he actually saved a number of those people who were on that launch. And then we believe it picked up 13 soldiers who were in Dunkirk harbour and brought them back to Britain. So it's a heroic little Dunkirk little ship, yes.
Wow. Well, that is a remarkable story. Thank you for sharing it with us. It's been a fascinating day here in Gloucester. Join us next time when we'll be in the Canal Museum in Stoke Bruin.